Well, hello there. How are you doing today? Do you feel like doing a little bit of DIYing with me? Well, come on in. Let's get started. What do I have going on for you for today? I am moving on to my entryway. Again, it has not been updated in about 20 years or repainted, and so I am excited to kind of make some changes. I've got some ideas of things that I want to do, things that have always kind of bothered me. I cannot wait to show you what I do with this entryway. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try and paint the furniture. The painter who painted my bedroom furniture gave me some tips, told me what I can do, because I just didn't want to pay to have the rest of the furniture painted because there's a lot of it and that just wasn't in the budget. And so I was down to maybe $100 in my budget to transform that furniture. And so it was a task that I needed to take on myself, and I decided to do it. And so guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna quit my gabbing. Let's jump into it and let me show you what I did with the furniture and how I transformed this front room when you walk in my entryway. Let's get to it. Alrighty, so right in my entryway by the front door, there was one of these intercom speakers. It was attached to the doorbell. Truth be told, when I first took these off, I didn't realize that it was going to be such a big hole, and so it was definitely something where I needed to learn how to do drywall repair, because there were about 8 of these up in the house and I wasn't going to pay to fix them. And so yeah, once I got some drywall in there, I went ahead and just used some of that pink spackling that turns white when it dries. Filled it in, and I let this dry for about 24 hours. Once it was dry, I went ahead and sprayed some texture on it, sanded down the texture, and it took a couple coats. I thought I could try to fade in or faux this in so I didn't have to paint this entryway immediately, and I couldn't do it. I didn't have the right color, and so this is what came of it. This is my entryway before. I had faux painting on the ceiling. Those were raised lamps that were once gray that I painted the color of my cabinets, but ended up not liking them later. So this needs to be transformed. I'm kind of over the reddish orange wood. I feel like it's kind of dated. Again, this is another piece of furniture that I've had for about 20 years. There's a lot of really good wood furniture in this house that I really struggled to get rid of because the quality of the furniture is fantastic. And I just feel like you don't find that every day anymore. It's more of a build your own furniture type thing that I find in a lot of places. And so I felt like just by changing the look of this stuff that it would do it for me. And of course you see the doodles there. They've got to keep me company. And they do just that. It's kind of a struggle to paint with them. Willow a couple of times has stuck her paws in the paint. Look, that's my Winnie. Isn't she just the sweetest girl? I just love my Winnie. Yeah, she just wants to play with her mama. I love her so much. Yeah, doodles are the best. I love them. I could own yeah, I love her. Yeah, she thinks it's playtime. Boy, I love my dogs. They really are a part of our family. They are our family, and we cater to our dogs, these dogs, because oh, here's Willow. She wants to play out too. Winnie, the white dog, she asserts her dominance on Willow all the time, but the funniest thing is that Willow asserts her dominance on Biza, Ray's dog, and Biza is a whopping 70 pounds. And he cowers down to that feisty little Willow that's about 15 pounds. And yeah, it is the funniest gosh darn it thing to see. Oh, there's Biza. Yeah, he is the low man on the totem pole in our house. And he's just Clifford the Cowardly Dog. I love him. Funny story. Ray said once upon a time that he thought about naming Biza Benjamin because of the way he looked. And I tell you, when I look at Biza now, he looks like he could have been a Benjamin. And so sometimes we joke around and we tell him, Benjamin, come here. and he actually comes, but I still want him to be Bisa because that was Ray's name for him. So I'm going to stop gabbing, get back to the transformation. I am going to reuse this mirror and those two wall sconces, those two pieces of decor, because I really, really like them. And as I'm talking, I'm really just looking at that spot that I patched up where the intercom was, and I don't know why I thought I could color match it, but I just couldn't. This paint's been up for 20 years. So yeah, I couldn't stand looking at it, so this needed to be repainted. Now, I want to point out to you real quick, the two windows on the side of each door, I absolutely hate those. They do have a privacy film over them, but it's one of those things that when I'm walking to the door, the people outside can still see my shadow or a person walking up, and I hate that. I have never liked those windows, and so I've got an idea of what I'm going to do with them, and I'm going to show you how I transform them and actually make them kind of a decor piece and an accent piece, something that's going to add to the decor of this room. And so yeah, Winnie and Willow really just kind of keep me. Look at her, she's so pretty. I just love her so much. One of the things that I loved most about redoing the inside of my house was patching up all the holes. Over 20 years and changing decor in and out, there was a lot of holes. And when you have a paint like this faux paint, it's not something that you can patch up and then paint. So a lot of the holes stayed, and I just kind of covered them with other decor pieces. And so there were a lot of holes in my walls, and it felt really good to patch up all these holes and just kind of have a new clean slate, a clean canvas, if you will, and just to know that there weren't any other holes other than the new ones that I was about to put into the wall. Now, for me, when repainting the inside of the house, I am not somebody who does well with a lot of color change. And so I did stick with the same color throughout the entire house, minus the girls' bedrooms. And the color that I am using is a color you can get at Lowe's by Valspar. I'm using a premium Valspar paint. It's a paint and primer in one. And the finish that I'm using is an eggshell finish because I don't like shine at all. But if I could go matte and actually keep it clean, I would. But eggshell is the next best thing. It's wipeable, it's cleanable, and it kind of looks like a matte finish. And so yeah, and the color that I'm using is Cafe Latte. And again, it is by Valspar, and you can find it at Lowe's. The light fixtures throughout the house are only about 4, maybe 5 years old, so I'm keeping those. I didn't take them down. There's just this cap there at the top that hides the wires that you can unscrew, and it kind of falls down onto the chain or the wires. So that's all I did, so I could paint around the top of the light fixture there without getting it on the cap. Now, when I tell you I'm kind of all over the place with this transformation, I really was. I am not a professional interior designer, and so I just kind of did things as I did them. There was no rhyme or reason. Like this area here, it was dried after I painted it, and so I thought, heck, why not? I'm gonna put my new welcome decor piece up because I've got the ladder out and I don't want to pull the ladder back out again. And so, yeah, I kind of was all over the place with what I did and how I did it, but you know what? I did it. These light switch covers and plug covers are a wrought iron cover, and there was this little decor store called Cherry Creek here in my town. It was a locally owned store that you could buy really nice decor at. You could buy these wrought iron switch plate covers and Sid Dickens tiles. And so when they had these, I had fallen in love with them about 20 years ago. And I'm not gonna lie, I really spent a small fortune in replacing every switch cover throughout my entire house with these switch covers. Whenever I had $50 extra, I'd go into Cherry Creek and I would buy as many switch covers as I could, and I would replace the white ones that I had with these. And so yeah, these are just not something that I will ever get rid of because I just think that they are gorgeous. Okay, so it was after I painted and redecorated the entryway that I had my bedroom furniture painted. That was when I decided, okay, I'm definitely repainting the furniture instead of replacing it. And the nice gentleman who did my bedroom furniture really gave me some tips on what I can do. And so this was the piece that I figured I was gonna try my hand at. It's a smaller piece, and I figured, well, if I mess it up, it'll be easier to sand. There's not a lot of it to fix. I didn't feel like I could ruin it. So to start off, I decided to go ahead with some TSP, and I gave this a good wash down. This wood furniture with TSP, it really takes off any of the waxes, the polishes, the residues, and makes it so it's paintable. This furniture was super dry already from being 20 years old, so I didn't feel like it needed to be sanded. I did sand the faces of the drawers a little bit because there were some imperfections in it and I wanted it to smooth out. For the top and the bottom there, the shelving part, I am going to go in with a roller because it is such a big space that I don't want brush strokes. And so I am using a thicker roller. And I was told to do that because it would cut down on any of the roller marks too. The paint that I am using is a furniture paint by Dunn Edwards, and the color I am using is Espresso Macchiato, and Dunn Edwards darkened it 25% for me. I wanted this furniture a bit darker than my bedroom furniture. Had I known I could have darkened the color, I probably would have done it in my bedroom, but that's okay. I'm okay with it. But since I could do it for the furniture in the living area, the entryway, and my office, I decided I was gonna go ahead and do it. Darkened it by 25%, so it is a nice, rich, dark espresso brown. And here is just a look at what it looks like painted versus not. And I'm loving it, and here it is after I painted it. Yeah, I love the color. Love it. Now to address the windows here, the side windows, because there is a film on there, I had this bright idea that I would paint the glass or the film. And so you can see that the film is still there. So all I have to do is peel up the film and the paint will come up. It wasn't painted on the window itself. And so I did try to paint it. It was really hard to get clean lines, but I really didn't try all that hard to clean up the lines after I came up with the idea of, okay, this looks okay as maybe panels on the side of the door, but I felt like looking at it like this, that it could look better. And that was when I came up with the idea of using curtains. I am using a sheer curtain and a linen curtain. These are curtains that I used in my family room. I went and bought another set of panels, cut them in half, sewed up the edges to make them thinner to fit these windows, and I'm using a real thin curtain rod. And I just hammered a couple finishing nails into the sides there to fit this in and to hide it in because I didn't want to use curtain rod hooks. They were a bit too bulky and noticeable, so I just used finishing nails, and it worked perfect. And so the curtains aren't going to be floor to ceiling of the framing. I thought it was okay to have a little bit of the white at the top and white at the bottom. I don't feel like it looks bad, but it totally covers up the windows, which I am super happy about. And as I was putting these up, I was really just loving the look and the feel and the texture that the curtains now added to the entryway of my house. And I just love these curtains all together. And so, yeah, once I got these curtains up, I was super happy, but felt like I could still do more to this entryway. And I had seen a TikTok at Christmas time where they were using a tension rod in a hallway arch or entryway, and they were adding garland to the tension rod, and I just loved that idea. And so I went to Walmart, got a oil rubbed bronze colored tension rod to go with my stuff, headed on over to Hobby Lobby when they had their 70% off sale, and I found this twine garland for $12.99, 70% off. It had some rustic bells. I kind of like that a lot, but what I loved most about it was twine and it was 70% off. So I decided that I would add this to the tension rod, covering it up, kind of doing like Christmas, what they did with the Christmas tree garland, the pine garland, only I was going to use twine. And I felt like even though this kind of gives it a boho look, because it's twine, I feel like it can also go with that modern farmhouse look, because there's twine, there's burlap, there's oil rubbed bronze, there's gonna be that dark brown furniture. You can see that table isn't painted yet because, like I told you, there was just no rhyme or reason to how I did things. And so, yeah. And because these were only like $3 a piece, I picked up 3 of the twine garlands for this. And what I'm using to attach to it is a combination of twine and clear zip ties. Now, when putting this up, I knew that it was easier to put it up and cover it at a lower level, and then I was going to add the 2 sides of twine onto the sides. I also picked up a beaded garland that had tassels. And again, those tassels could be considered boho, but it could also be farmhouse. And so I'm gonna tweak it to make it farmhouse, but I wanted to add just some beading to it to add a little something to this twine and rustic bell garland. And I think that these beads and the tassels are just what this needs. I'm gonna make it work. Now, one piece of garland wasn't quite long enough on each side. I wanna say that these are 7-foot garlands and I have 10-foot ceilings. So before I added on to them and cut up another garland, I wanted to see how it looked, not adding the length to it, and if I liked it before I headed back over to Hobby Lobby and hoped, with all hope, that there was another garland. I ended up not liking it short. I felt like my eye kept going to the end of the twine, the bottom of the twine. So I did go back to Hobby Lobby, picked up one more, and one was gonna do the trick. Just by cutting it in half, it was gonna add the 3 feet onto it that I needed to add to it, and I could just attach it with more twine, because why not? So like I said, this was done right after Christmas, so I trotted on over to Walmart, I think, to see if they had any white Christmas light strands left. And what do you know, they did, and they were 50% off, so that was a win. I decided I was gonna add some lights to this. I didn't add the twinkle light to it. I do have it. I don't know that I want it to twinkle. I was gonna kind of wait and see how I liked the solid lights, but I knew that lights definitely needed to be added to this garland, and it was just gonna give it more of a warm, homey feel. So yeah, let's take a look at this. This was done at the beginning of January. You can tell by the bunny on the door that it is now Easter time. And boy, I love the look of this furniture painted. It just brought new life to it. The hardware is the original color. I am in love with the way this door looks. That garland is interchangeable, so at Christmas time I can make it Christmassy. But altogether, I just love the way it looks lit up during the day, and at night it really just gives it a warm, homey feeling. I couldn't be happier with the color, the look, the style, the twine, the burlap, everything about it just screams me. And that red stool over there is my mom's. She hand painted that stool. So yeah, just a touch of her. But all in all, we're making this our home. Honestly, I could not be happier with the way this turned out. When you walk in the front door, it feels like a whole new house. It feels like my home. It screams like everything that I love, that the girls love, that make us feel safe and comfortable and warm and cozy, and that is what screams home to me. You know, it's different for everybody, and that is diversity, and that's what I love about the world, is it's a colorful world and everybody's different, and we can all appreciate that about each other. Not gonna lie, I was nervous to do this furniture and paint it. But once I got to doing it and I saw how easy it was using a soft brush and how perfect it came out, yeah, easy peasy. Now I'm thinking I could have done my bedroom furniture and saved some money, but you know what? I learned something, so that's what I'm taking away from that. And now all of the furniture, that pesky red and orange wood is gone, that very dated wood, as it might have been for me once upon a time, and it may be something that people now still like. After I've looked at it for 20 years, it was time for a change, and it was a very welcome change. I will say that the dust does show a bit more because it is a darker brown. But I'm a duster anyway, so I don't really mind. Using a feather duster kind of helps in between the polishing days. And that's really the only gripe that I have. I am loving just the feel, the modern farmhouse feel that is going throughout this house. And I've got my guest bathroom left to do, and then I will show you my kitchen that I just redid. I used to have stripes in my kitchen. I used to have stripes in my laundry room, a blue laundry room, and now it is all just transformed. And I love this house, if I haven't said it already, in a way that I never have, and it feels like me and mine. So stay tuned for all those DIYs and hacks to come. Until next time, everybody, I hope you have a fantastic day. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe, but most of all, I'm gonna ask you to stay positive, because if I can find positivity in every day, so can you. Bye for now, everybody.